welcome back to the GSL Code A. We had two really, I mean, they were atrocious series. I mean, super dominated by SuperNova, and then Stats dominating the match against the best. Like, both of these players crushed their opponents, and now we're going to find out who takes that very first Code S spot. I mean, that was a quick two best of threes that we just watched, Keller.
Yeah, that was, like, both of them really dominated their series and had a very easy day so far. But now it's the winners match here at the GSL Code A, and the question, which one of these two players will be able to advance to Code S right away? One of the two of them will go up there. We might either see the 14th Protoss player or the third Terran.
Yeah, one of the two, man. SuperNova really wants this. He's been meching like crazy. Man, I hope that we get to see at least one mech game out of him in this matchup, because he's the only Terran player who's been able to make mech work against Protoss consistently so far. I don't think he's going to be able to do it in all of his games against Stats, because Stats is such a good player. The mech still isn't fully figured out, but at least once would be good to see.
Yeah, I would like that. It would be a lot of fun. We're going to find out if it happens on Habitation Station as we jump into game number 1 here. Protoss versus Terran at the GSL Code A. SuperNova going up against Stats. Brought to you by Colin Wolf.
SuperNova versus Stats.
Starting to the top right of the map, we have our Terran play in red for Team Azubu. It is SuperNova taking down Koka in the first series of the day with a very quick 2-0. And he's now changing matchups as he's going up against the Protoss player. On Habitation Station, first map of the best of 3, starting to the top left, we have Stats, who just defeated another Terran player. He took down the best with a 2-0 as well, not dropping a single map there.
Stats, look at that, just a little bit of a smile on his face for a moment there. He's ready for another win. He gets to play the same matchup 2 times in a row. The thing is, SuperNova is really creative in this matchup. He's mech'd, he's played solid late games. I think one of the games, I can't remember who he was playing against, but it was a game where he was down at half the supply. It might have been against Creator Prime. It was a TVP where he had 2-2 and his opponent had 1-1. He just microed so hard, and he like came back and won the game just because of his upgrade lead, and it was just insane to watch him do it. Like, medevacs all over the map, just constantly harassing and then fighting and kiting and just taking his opponent apart. He's a scary opponent to face in this matchup, but I favor Stats here slightly. I think he's the more possibly the more solid player. You know, in my opinion, I think he should be able to edge it up. I think it's going to be a close series. It's not going to be anything like the first 2 best of 3s that we watched.
I think that SuperNova is going to make it out of this best of 3 and go straight to Code S. But both of them actually struggling a little bit against their opponent's race in the past. I talked a bit about stat statistics in the matchup just before we headed into the game that he played against his former opponent. But for SuperNova, it's actually pretty similar. Like, recently he lost against Autos, he lost against Panic, and he lost twice against Maxet in the ECL Grand Finals. That was in where he played a lot of Chinese players in there. One against Rush, Crazy, and Shana, but lost against Maxet twice and against Jim. So both of them with a little bit of a losing streak in the matchup, and both of them also with a win ratio below 50%. But still kind of on eye level if you just look at the statistics and what's written on paper. But in general, I would give SuperNova a bit of an edge here. But time will tell. I mean, game number 1 is on, so let's see what they are both up to.
I felt like if SuperNova played against either of the players in the losers match, in the winners match, he would get it out of the group in first place, like 100%. But against Stats, we'll see. I think the first game is going to like set the pace here, right? I mean,
let's be completely honest. Koka and also the best got absolutely demolished. Like, that was a beating, and pretty one-sided one. There was just no chance to actually get a hit in for either one of them. So if Koka or the best wants to go to Code S, they have to step it up in the next game. Yeah. That much is for certain. So
there's the Nexus going down. And so far, SuperNova has just shown a very, very standard opening here. He has not added any additional barracks, and this is going to be funny for Stats, right? Because he's going to come in here and he's going to say, like, okay, you have a few Marines, but I have no idea what else you're doing. And there's a factory going down, and I think he might still mech here, even though it's not like a quick tech out of him, not going Hellions first into harassing and then going into mech like you normally see Terrans try to do.
He might in one of the games. This is a map where we saw mech against Zerg, but this is a matchup where mech is very rarely used. It's getting a little bit more common, and SuperNova, as we mentioned already before, is one of the players that tried that in the past, so he might have a strategy prepared for one of the maps there.
He's going to proxy a Banshee, I think. He's got his SCV over to the bottom left, and he's got enough gas from mining 2 gases for so long that it just makes sense, but if Stat sees this, that's terrible, but even if he doesn't, he's got a starport, which is going to be great at deterring this because he has the detection with the Oracle, and also he will be able to make Phoenixes. It's just a question of how much energy does he use on the Oracle early on
and
to
also
harass.
where the Oracle is going to be. Because if that Banshee gets into the main base of the Protoss player with Cloak while the Oracle is still hovering somewhere to the top right, then so many probes are going to die to the Banshee even before the Oracle is back at home.
And SuperNova is going mech for sure. Korean commentators just found out there. Well, we have surprised.
We have the Armory there too, so the Armory is now coming into play as well. And I mean, he said in the last time that we saw him play mech against Protoss play, he said that he was experimenting with it a lot after the recent patch changes, and that he thinks it's something that he can make work. That Oracle, on the other hand, is having a really bad day since... Wow, just saw it move back. That was good for him. If that Oracle goes down here, he has no detection.
Yep. That was a great reaction.
Yeah,
that was like
well
split second. You have to be on top of that. +1 is being researched right now for Siege Tank. Cloak is on the way as well. He sees... Did he see the Armory? I think he saw the Armory.
He must have seen it. We'll be very surprised if
Well,
he did.
he's got to realize what's going on nowadays. He's like still only the reactor on the barracks and only a few Marines here.
Yeah, but you see, the Oracle is still circling the area since he wants to find out if there's some point where he can take down a unit or two, and if that Banshee is done...
No Phoenixes as well, Keller. Forge is going to be helpful, but a bit too late here.
Oh, that base actually could detect the Banshee before anything happens, and that will give him a bit of a head start there. Alright. Where did that shot come from?
Right there. Oh, that
wow.
is sneaky. That is sneaky.
Nice.
It's literally impossible, invisible to the eye to see.
I did not see that. I was like, well, there has to be Widowmine somewhere, but I can't see one. The only one up top in the mineral line is way too far.
That's a crazy move there. That's impossible to see to the naked eye.
And now we have no detection. Here comes the robotics, but it's gonna take quite some... Didn't he just... Yeah, okay, there's a Phoenix, because he just chrono boosted the Stargate without having anything in production there. Maybe it was just supply block.
Here comes the... What was hiding it?
He's going for double Banshee, apparently, and waits for the Cloak upgrade.
That's gonna hurt him, actually, because...
There comes the... Oh, he's just waiting for the Cloak upgrade, not for the second Banshee.
Okay, so here he goes. Comes in here. This first Banshee is gonna do so much damage because there's still no detection. He's gonna Cloak at the last second as soon as the Phoenix comes there, well, or as soon as the anti-air units in general.
Could kill a couple of sentries if he wanted to.
Yeah, I think it's better to kill the probes here, though. Because he's going back, sentries aren't really a big concern for him. And he's just going to go in here and continue to kill as many harvests as possible. 4 kills already, the 5th kill on the second Banshee that's at the third base, which also spawns the third.
And his 7 kills so far. There's kill number 8, number 9, gonna get a 10. The other Banshee is already doing work at the natural. 13 workers killed in total, kills 14. He is having a pretty successful proxy play here.
And now he's going into mech. I mean, in this matchup, you have to make a ton of Marines with this, and he's got those for buffer. The concern for SuperNova is that his army is slow, immobile. This is a huge map. It's going to take him a long time to go across the third base, so he's got his own third CC. He basically has to accept that the Protoss has 3 bases, which for him, because he did so much damage with his Banshees and because now he has triple mules, I think he's probably just going to be okay with that. I don't think he's really going to be too concerned.
No, he's completely okay. He killed enough harvesters. He is already ahead in the harvester count against the Protoss player, which is always awesome. The added mules, of course, giving him another lead in economy and income. With the third base, he has then the extra gas that he needs for his mech style. And Stats identified that, and the reaction of the Protoss player is a quick upgrade into +1 attack for air units.
Second Stargate and Fleet Beacon.
Exactly. He wants to go into Tempests here.
Getting Tempest up this early is so smart. And Stats immediately identifying that there must have been a starport over here, wants to make sure it's not still there.
Triple Stargate.
He could actually go into Void Race too, but I think Tempest is going to be the choice because he has so much bank. He's had these 3 bases up for so long, and that's a... I mean, we don't really see this matchup very often, and when we do see it, it is Tempest the choice, but I reserve judgment until Stats.
Why else would he get the Fleet Beacon?
For +2 attack. But, I mean, he didn't need it that early. I think it is going to be Tempest. It's just, it's expensive for him this early. And he's going to start building the count, though.
He has 3 bases, so with 3 bases, he has the economy to really back that up. But it's going to be expensive.
There's the scan.
Yeah, and there he sees it already. That is a great scan. That shows him everything that he needs to know. He doesn't see the third.
It's carriers.
Whoa!
Carriers are not very good against Thors and not very good against Vikings. But if he hides the carriers, which by the way the scan didn't reveal, if he hides the carriers,
I did not expect triple carriers.
I thought about it, but I didn't think it was a good idea.
I thought about it for a second as well, but then I was like, nah.
I don't think it's going to be the right answer, to be honest.
There comes the second starport now, and we already have Thors building. I mean, what did SuperNova see? SuperNova saw 2 Stargates already, and he saw the fleet peak. He didn't saw the third one, but he might even expect that there is another one. So for him, the reaction has to be Thors and Vikings, no matter what comes out of those.
Yeah,
the
and
answer
those
is Thors and Vikings.
And he scans again, and this time he sees all 3, and he sees it's carriers, and he's just going to maybe even add a 3rd starport because he's like, well, if I just have Vikings, like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and,
Stats is like thinking like about Brood War, but this is not Brood War we're watching right now.
There's like nothing to hide or anything. It's just like the answer out of anything that comes out of these structures is going to be Vikings and Thors.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. So for SuperNova, it's just the question, how many do I build?
He's getting the Graviton Catapult research right now.
Carrier has arrived. Has been quite some time since I've seen one.
Somebody accidentally made one in Pro League the other day, but didn't finish, so it didn't matter.
Well, one of them is getting a little bit cheeky.
Well, right now SuperNova wants to make Goliaths, but he can't, so he's just going to make Vikings.
Wolf, there's a carrier on a mission.
He's going to try to harass with it, it looks like. I mean, why else would he go over there?
I think that might have been a misclick. He moves back immediately.
Even this army alone will crush the carriers because he has marine support, which will kill the unarmor upgraded interceptors. I like this harassment, though. This is really nice because the mech army is immobile. And then he's going to be able to get some damage done over here with Blink Stalkers. He's going to lose his 3rd base, though, I think, the SuperNova's push. The carriers are not defending this one, man.
Yeah, and there are 4 Vikings being built at a time, and they can kite. They also have the +2 attack upgrade already. Those are the sentries. They are gone. The 4th base is being built here, but there's a lot of Stalkers here at the front.
That was a good blink. That was a really good blink. This base goes down, though, for sure. Like, there's no saving it.
Yeah, as soon as we have additional siege tanks in the main base for SuperNova, he should be able to defend against the Stalkers. Ooh, he's just surrounding them with the SCVs.
He should blink away.
I don't think he's busy, I think. And now he finally blinks away, but he's already lost a few. And now it's time for the carriers.
All right, carriers versus Vikings. There's not a whole lot of Vikings here with this army.
Where's the rest of them? He built so many more. They must be still at home.
He landed a lot of his Vikings actually to defend the Stalkers.
I don't think that SuperNova has enough anti-air here.
He does not have enough anti-air here, that's for sure, and he's going to lose his army for it.
Yep.
I don't think he...
Where's the rest of the Vikings? He built 4 at a time. He should have had so much more. I think he used a few in assault mode to defend against the army back at home. That's the only thing that I can come up with right now. To defend against the Stalkers, because he definitely had more than only 4 or 5 Vikings.
Oh, yeah, he landed them to defend the Stalkers. He landed and lost a lot of them.
Okay, though, so...
Yeah, he definitely did. We saw that, like, very briefly, but yeah, he did do that. And now, this is a situation that should never occur.
Yeah, like that...
These two have been playing too much Starbow, Keldor.
I don't know about that. Yeah, maybe. The thing is, he should have just defended with... Oh, wow, losing the Vikings back at home.
This is actually probably going to
kill him.
Kill
register with me. I don't think he's going to kill him because he's building 4 at a time. And
I don't know, man. Don't underestimate +2 carriers with 52 interceptors.
Yeah.
I think this may be game.
Well, we have only 6 Vikings. He needs to wait for more than that.
Even if he gets enough Vikings to survive, like, he's lost too much. And Stats has 3 bases, and he's killing all the SCVs.
He's down to 29 army supply. He doesn't really have a whole lot. That's true. So you're right. He might actually lose this.
He could actually just fight the Vikings. The Vikings can kite, but they're not.
Well, actually...
Stalkers coming here as well.
Why doesn't he repair?
Just GG, man. Watch carriers kill SuperNova.
Oh, SuperNova. Why didn't he even try to repair with SCVs? It helps a little bit at least.
This game is over.
He threw the Vikings away.
He threw the Vikings away. He didn't have them with his army. He didn't respect the carriers.
He didn't respect the carriers. I wouldn't have thought it possible, but carriers just won the game.
Wow. I know it's like really early, and Code just started, so we don't have, like, not everybody who's watching Code has gotten in here yet. Spread the word, man. We're watching carriers versus mech. We just watched SuperNova die to carriers, but he was probably expecting that he could start Goliaths, and he just couldn't. he scanned a second time and saw the carriers in the warp field, and he must have been able to.
Like, let's be absolutely honest here for a second. Depending on how many Vikings he lost at the defense against the Stalkers, I think it was a bad choice. He had siege tanks building, he could have lost a few more SCVs. If he doesn't lose the Vikings and sends them to his army and defends with the siege tanks that pop out of his factory, he takes a bit more damage than the natural, but he defends against the Stalkers, and then the Vikings should be able to crush the carriers. But if you throw away your Vikings at the defense against the Stalkers, then you don't have the anti, and that's why I lost the game there.
I think SuperNova also should just not have attacked into the natural. He didn't have to. He had enough units at the, he killed the third base, and the carriers are slow. I think if he had known that there were that many carriers, he would not have attacked. Obviously, he would have just walked home. But attacking into those carriers, he got crushed, and the Vikings that were at the front didn't stand a chance. They didn't kite or anything, and of course it's a little bit easier to micro carriers. That was changed slightly from their original very first Wings of Liberty. We're going into heavy rain right now. That was a crazy game. Let's see what happens with these two players in game number 2. Currently stats up 1-0. This is the GSL Code Carriers. Calvin Wolf.